It is the year 2267. Humans have caused so much damage to the Earth that it no longer supports life, forcing millions of people to relocate to a massive space station orbiting the planet. Poverty and hunger have become the fugitives' companions, and each of them has only one wish: to be on Rhea, a planet that resembles paradise. Dr. Laura Portman records a message to her sister Ariane, who has already moved to Rhea, a beautiful planet that can accommodate all of the refugees left homeless after Earth ceased to be habitable. Laura is one of those who refused to believe in the disaster until the very end, but when she finally had to admit her sister was correct, the planet's space stations were overcrowded. Laura accepts a position on the cargo ship Cassandra, which embarks on an 8-year voyage, the majority of which Portman and the rest of the crew will spend sleeping. Laura's name is finally called over the speakerphone, and a small shuttle transports her to the spacecraft. The ship's first officer, Anna Lindbergh, greets the newcomer and introduces her to the rest of the crew. Captain LaCroix briefs the crew on the flight plan and informs them that a space security officer is on board for their protection. Lieutenant Decker doesn't keep him waiting long. He appears before the crew, and the captain suggests that he examine the cargo bay, as he will start the engines in a few hours, putting the entire crew into anabiosis. When Decker is alone with the crew, he tells them about a terrorist who has already carried out several cargo ship attacks, demanding that the world be free of machines and space stations. Laura is saddened to see Earth moving away from their ship as she looks out the porthole, but she is cheered by the thought of her sister and Rhea. Cassandra fires up the engines and takes off on her long flight. The captain establishes a schedule for crew members to emerge from anabiosis and report to duty on the ship. Laura, like the others, sinks into the gel tank and sleeps for about 3.5 years. Laura looks at a message from her sister that she sent her from Rhea several years ago when she wakes up. The girl is on her way in for her shift. Her job is to take sensor readings, care for the plants, and avoid going insane from loneliness. Dr. Portman leaves a message for Ariane one evening, in which she tells her sister about her job and how they are transporting building materials to the station. Laura waits for the 2 months of shifts to end before falling back asleep so she can finish her journey and finally fly to Rhea. Laura hears a strange sound one evening, but she convinces herself that she is hallucinating. To avoid thinking about it, the astronaut tries harder to exercise, but it doesn't help. The noise becomes louder and more frequent. Laura runs into Decker in the corridor as she flees. Having received the signal to open the cargo bay, he automatically wakes up. The security officer demands to see what so alarmed Dr. Portman, but Laura decides to follow orders and wake the crew, despite the auditor's objections. Captain LaCroix is also annoyed by being woken up early, and he warns the mercenary that if she is incorrect, she will be in big trouble. The captain enters the access code, and upon entering the compartment, he takes readings from the central computer, which show that the strangeness began during Laura's shift. The captain divides it into 3 conditional sections and instructs each of his colleagues to examine them in the hopes of determining who was making the strange noise. Laura is immediately alerted to the fact that she can't see any of the building materials they're supposed to be carrying as the astronauts talk over the radio as they examine their sections. Laura and Decker are examining the captain when a light appears above them, informing them that the gate is closing. The pair grabs LaCroix and rushes out to avoid freezing in the cargo hold. The rest of the crew has awakened by this point, and Officer Lindbergh takes command in accordance with the rules. She orders that the central computer be checked, the gate be repaired, and LaCroix's body be examined to determine the exact cause of his death. The girl scans the body, and her gaze is drawn to the old man's eye, which turns out to be a fake security camera. Laura invites Decker in and offers him the opportunity to watch a video of LaCroix's final moments. Nothing much is noticed by the company, but they are interested in the section where the captain was. Judging by the signs, the cargo bay is not going with boards, but with something that requires special equipment and refrigerators. Laura and Decker decide to check the compartment from which LaCroix fell after learning from the mechanic that the gate is in complete disrepair, and there they discover containers of sleeping men. The auditor summons the other men and orders them to remove the tanks from the cargo bay. Suddenly, the massive containers start moving. Laura is unable to escape with the others, but she does manage to reach Decker, who comes to her aid. The crew reports everything to Officer Lindbergh, and Laura insists that someone else on the ship moved the containers besides them. However, the captain requests that everyone forget what happened, return the capsule, and refrain from making up any tall tales. The company prevails, but the captain promises to inform management of everything. Laura, despite her outrage, prepares to examine one of the sleeping men. After scanning the body, the girl concludes that the man is in a coma caused by artificial sleep. The sarcophagus prevents her from thoroughly examining him, and the doctor is unable to open it. Lindbergh has concerns about a hired colleague, so the captain asks one of the crew to keep an eye on the information she gives Decker. Decker informs Laura that the station they're flying to is supposed to be a major communications hub. The employee decides not to discuss what is truly present, and instead asks Laura about the purpose of her flight. The girl admits that her dream is to visit her sister on Rhea, and that in order to do so, she needs money to live the life they have always desired. Decker unexpectedly kisses her after being impressed by the doctor's response. The repair crew becomes uneasy when they hear strange noises, but they must continue working on the gate. Decker assists a colleague in opening the capsule, where he discovers a young passenger. Laura scans her body and finds a cable inserted into the girl's spine. A security guard authorizes the doctor to examine the girl, but he instructs her not to tell anyone about the results. Laura records a message for her sister in the evening. She expresses her feelings and concerns to her, despite the fact that she is aware that the video file will take years to reach Rhea, and she will receive an answer after she has seen her sister. But then something strange happens. Laura receives a message from Ariane, who happily tells her that she is relieved to hear her sister's voice and to know that she is fine. Laura realizes something strange is going on, and Decker is probably aware of it as well, but instead of explaining himself, the guy kisses the doctor again, making her forget everything. The captain gathers everyone in the wardroom and informs them that the computer data showed Decker was awake throughout the flight. Lindbergh arrests the security officer, suspecting him of involvement in LaCroix's death. Laura is also ordered to return the capsule to the container and put the saboteur to sleep within the next few hours, but the doctor finds an excuse to keep her pal awake by telling her that she must assist him. Laura tries not to talk to Decker when she is alone with him, but as the girl is about to leave, the guy reveals to her that they are actually flying to Rhea. The doctor enlists the assistance of one of her colleagues, Yoshida, and requests that he check the location of their ship. The girl programmer complies with the request and discovers that their coordinates were incorrect to begin with. The program has a different arrival point, but it is impossible to know where that point is. Laura tells her friend about her sister's too close answer and Decker's words, but the girls don't have time to talk because one of their coworkers walks into the cabin. The crew gathers in the ship's center for a small party. The cabin lights suddenly turn on, and Laura goes to Yoshida to find out what this has to do with her discoveries. The girl is discovered in the electronics compartment by the doctor, with no signs of life but evidence of alien hands. The crew blames Decker, who was reawakened and released from the capsule, and believes the perpetrator is hiding somewhere on the ship. The captain directs that everyone arm themselves and search for the stowaway. The crew searches compartment after compartment and finds no trace of Decker. Laura's partner eventually notices an open shaft and sends the girl there before heading for the opposite exit. Laura ends up in a trash compartment and is attacked by a bearded, feral man. Someone saves the girl, chasing her attacker away from around the corner, and Portman realizes it was the same terrorist who was planning to destroy Cassandra. Decker is apprehended, and the captain beats him for information about the plan he brought to the ship, but the guy instead claims that Ray's planet is a hoax. In fact, the company that orchestrated the whole thing discovered that it was possible to continue living on Earth, but because they didn't want to tell anyone, they made up a legend about a paradise planet and connected everyone who attempted to move to virtual reality via a cable embedded in his spine. Lindbergh doesn't let Decker finish his thought, and Laura assumes the captain is aware of everything the man just said. She informs Anna that the young capsule patient can be returned to the containers, and the captain informs the doctor that her shift is over and she must return to sleep. Both women realize they are lying to each other, and a weapon appears in their hands at one point, but the captain is faster. This was kept hidden from society because the government determined that giving people hope was the only way to maintain order. The captain says the impersonation is flawless, but neither the doctor nor her friend agree. If Decker finds out, they will be killed and accused of sabotage. The mercenaries, who have learned the truth from Decker, approach Lindbergh with questions and force her to sleep so they can seize the ship and fly to the Paradise planet. Decker approaches Laura and begs forgiveness, but the girl will only cooperate if her friend assists her in finding her sister in the containers. The guy devises a strategy in which he and Laura will infiltrate the simulation, and from there the girl will send a message to Earth, while he searches for Ariane. Decker then plans to blow up the converter, which will keep the people connected to the virtual reality in place but prevent them from sending messages to other planets. Cassandra prepares to dock as she approaches the station. Dr. Portman dreams of returning to Earth and saving her sister after finding herself in the same bed as Decker. The guy is concerned that it will be difficult because Ariane has been in the simulation for too long, but Laura believes they should take their chances. The operation gets underway. While his colleagues investigate the ship's system, Decker enters the cargo bay in search of Ariane's capsule. However, the mercenaries decide to break the contract and go to Rhea on their own, using the captain's stolen pass and shifting the capsule's unloading time. Decker plants explosives to destroy the false Rhea after discovering Laura's sister, unaware that the ship's crew is also infiltrating. Laura leaves the ship while listening to her friend and quickly loses control. She tries to contact Decker, but the line is cut. At the same time, the guy discovers Ariane. Decker eventually finds his girlfriend, but he informs her that there is nothing he can do about her sister. The girl then asks her boyfriend to let her into Ariane's impersonation so she can bid her farewell and send a message to Earth from there. Decker agrees, but warns her friend that she only has 7 minutes before he returns her. Laura opens her eyes to find herself in a beautiful forest, one she has always wanted to see. Decker makes sure the girl's spacesuit doesn't run out of power while she locates and meets her sister. Laura runs away after hugging her sister without explaining anything to her. Decker drags Rhea out into the real world after she records a message to Earth revealing Ray's secret. Decker requests that her friend return to Cassandra and fly home. He must remain because there is only enough battery for one person. Laura witnesses her friend being carried away into outer space after the guy ignores his objections. Ray's system shatters into millions of pieces as Laura returns in time. She goes in search of the runaway girl, but Lindbergh appears in the hallway in front of her, and the women fight once more. Portman finally gets rid of the traitor this time. Laura finds the girl in the dining room and quietly exhales when she finds her. The girl, who is caring for her patient, dreams of creating a new world on Earth with her assistance. Other stations are listening to Ray's latest message, in which Dr. Laura Portman has given everyone hope.